How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Gamer Grudge. I am Aiden, and today we're going to be talking about something not Nintendo, but still Nintendo. And instead of them doing something wrong, they actually are in the crosshairs of somebody, namely PETA. So let's go ahead and break that down here in a moment. But I am joined by Andrew Interactive as always. So Andrew, why don't you say what's up?
PETA.
Well, geez, we're already getting hot and heavy on that one, but okay, I'm also joined by our Kevin's Logistical Operations Unit. So, Kevin, why don't you say what's up?
Are we anti Nintendo today still? Question mark.
We're always
No.
anti Nintendo, but we have to give, credit where credit's due. They aren't always in the bad graces of humanity. Let's go ahead and roll the intro. All right, as I was talking about, we are going after PETA today because PETA decided to go after Nintendo. And so, yeah, instead of talking about Nintendo, we're going to still be talking about Nintendo, but in a good way, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Only we can get a bully Nintendo.
exactly. PETA, stay off our turf. Come on. But PETA decided to go ahead and send a letter to Mr. Furukawa. I hope I said that right. He is the president of Nintendo. And specifically, the letter states this. It is on their website for anyone who wants to read it. We'll go ahead and leave the description down below, but it's also on screen right here, so you can read it if you want to pause the video. But the article does say, "Greetings. I'm writing on behalf of the People of Ethical Treatment of Animals, or PETA. PETA entities have more than 10 million members and supporters globally. We heard there is a new star in Mario Kart World, and that is Cal. She is already winning hearts everywhere, including ours, but one detail that is hitting the brakes, is the brass ring in the cow's nose. Would you please show empathy towards bovines and remove the nose ring? Here's why this is so important." They go on to say, "Nose rings are used by the meat and dairy industries to exploit, control, and even drag animals to their deaths. These brass rings are crudely stabbed through the sensitive septum of cows and bulls, which can cause lasting pain and discomfort. The dairy industry will also clip spiked nose rings on baby cows so that the comforting act of nursing their mother causes pain and the baby is rejected and kicked away. To control bulls, a chain might be fastened from the nose ring to the bull's horns, and even more pain-driven control." Finally, they just ask again in the last paragraph, just, "Hey, can you remove this, please, and allow the cattle to freely race, or race freely," at the end. But I just want to go ahead and say they are, PETA's not incorrect here. So before I put them on blast, or Andrew puts them on blast, or Kevin does, they're not wrong here. The use of nose rings is a bad practice. It does hurt. And it also does hurt nursing mothers and everything. It is a really bad practice that honestly shouldn't be continued. And one of the companies that Andrew will always talk highly of is like BFAS. They are ones who are trying to get that practice actually removed, and they're trying to limit that practice. So there you go. They are actually trying to help the animals. But so they are trying to get this removed. Andrew, what do you think? Do you think PETA is overstepping their boundaries here?
I just want to first correct your statement of PETA's acronym. It's very clearly people's or euthanization treatments of animals. Because, they love killing animals. But
Touche.
I'm surprised they're not complaining that why does a cow have horns? Why does she have horns? That's what I'm surprised they're not complaining about. I just, PETA's dumb, and they're complaining about a thing that's used for an aesthetic design of an animal and a practice that's very much on the decline. Things like BFAS and AWI, very much in the decline.
There you go.
And PETA can go themselves.
Thank you. We're on to a good start here. So, Kevin, what do you have to say about this?
You left out what I think is the funniest line out of everything, where it's like every animal is someone, so leave the rings to Sonic and let the cows breathe free. Like, all right, PETA, relax. Let's calm down a little bit. But I think the grander thing of why this is a thing on the internet and why we're talking about it, I think I don't want to speak for everybody here, but I think we do play video games to kind of disassociate with real life. So in a game where there's a friggin' cow driving a motorcycle that's being chased by a giant tortoise with spikes on its back, and an ape who's wearing a bow tie or a tie, I think we're okay. I think we're okay where the Mushroom
No,
Kingdom is safely practicing animal safety by letting them drive clearly when they don't have the proper appendages to do so.
Hey, is it
no.
safety? They also have a fish driving here. I mean, why isn't PETA going after that? Huh?
It's out of water.
My first thought immediately with Moo Moo is how dare they have that nose ring? Do they know what they're doing? That cow driving, it's driving, it's running away. It's driving away from the slaughterhouse.
I mean, it's got to be, obviously.
That's my first thought. Not that, oh, that's a cute cow. I want to drive that, and I want to have it drive a little cart and race people. That's definitely not my
Yeah.
first thought.
Totally. First thing that I want to think about is exactly that, is the complete horrid practices of slaughterhouses. First thing, immediately. But, this isn't the first time that PETA has done something like this. I talked about this a while back. I wrote an article about it. It's on GameSandwich.com if you want to check that out. It's a long time in the making. But I wrote a satirical article about PETA doing this exact thing with Pal World, where specifically they released a statement about Pal World back in the day that specifically said that people were begging for a vegan guide to be created for the game. Well, you know what? I obliged. I made a vegan article because, hey, guess what? I'm not ashamed to say it. I am vegan. So, hey, and before anyone in the comments goes ahead and puts me on blast, guess what? I don't like PETA. So, I don't think they really stand for the message that well. But, anyway, I obliged them. I wrote that, and it was very satirical, basically saying that you can't actually do anything in the game because everything requires you to interact with the pals. Simple as that. And at that point, I think PETA again overstepped. But Andrew, what do you think about the whole PETA and Pal World incident that happened?
I think they need to shut up about a fantasy land with guns and because when you're thinking about Pal World, you're thinking, man, I'm not playing a video game. This is real life, and these are real life animals.
Exactly.
And I am a terrible person.
Everything
in this
you do is a
magical fantasy
reflection.
land, and I'm building a base, and I'm feeding them, and I'm giving them beds because if they're actually treated horribly and treated not well, they actually don't perform well, and then you just screw yourself over. So you have to treat them nicely, and you have to treat them well, and you have to feed them. But hey, what do I know? Giving animals jobs and treating them nicely? Crazy silly me.
Even this wasn't the first time that they've done something like this, as Kevin has pointed out to us and has thrown us this article as well from My Nintendo News, where back in the day they went after 1-2 Switch as well, where Kevin told us about them going after the cow milking minigame where you needed to milk the cow and everything. Now again, I understand the message that they're trying to send here, that they're saying, hey, that it's not necessarily good for like the dairy industry and everything. I get the message, but again, they shouldn't be going after video games. It's stupid. But Kevin, what do you have to say about the 1-2 Switch?
I get the way that animals are wrongly treated, and I'm severely against that. But what I'm trying to figure out, this was back in 2017.
Yes.
They did this once, and they just did it again with Cow in Mario Kart World. Is anybody even considering what Nintendo does with these letters whenever they get them? Like, is it a funny, like, they get it on their desk, and they kind of go, huh, and just throw it away? Like, is there dialogue? Like, is there history of, like, people changing the game because of this? Like, I don't think there is, let alone Nintendo. I don't think they're gonna do that.
I don't think that there is. And you know what, Kevin? I mean, you brought this up, you brought up Nintendo in it. I just want to, like, also jump on the whole, this isn't even the first time either, as they have a history of going after every single Pokemon game, too. and
Oh
mentioning
yeah, I can only
and
imagine.
saying, "Hey, Pokemon is bad because you're capturing animals, using them for battle, yada yada yada." And so again, it's like Andrew said, it is, hey, we're playing in a fantasy world where people battle Pokemon. It's like,
If
why do we
if
care?
PETA
Why do we want to think about reality here?
if PETA took the time and effort to actually saving animals as much as they do is writing letters, sending attack letters, and murdering animals, they could actually be a force for good.
They could.
Yeah.
But you know what?
But they don't.
But you know what? I'm going to bring a receipt here at least. But BFAST specifically wrote an article about PETA and about their practices. Now, in case you guys don't know, they don't necessarily practice what they preach. They may be talking about, hey, animal rights and, hey, treat these animals good in games. But in reality, they don't even treat the animals that we actually love with respect. And the reason why I say that is because they, right here, have a recorded 79% kill rate for adoption centers.
Shelter animals.
Yeah, I was drawing a blank. Sorry, guys. But, yeah, with their shelter animals. And so really, they aren't practicing what they preach in general. If they did, then they would be doing a lot more. They would be trying to do a lot more. They'd be getting bills passed or helping to get bills passed to help change the direction that these companies are going in. But they aren't doing that. It's more on other companies like BFAS and like the other one that Andrew mentioned. Feel
WI
free.
and WWF.
All right, so I'm reading the Everybody 1-2 Switch letter, and at the end, they're like, we suggest instead of sugarcoating the subject, Nintendo switch to simulating activities in which no animals suffer. For example, an almond milk minigame where you can just pick almonds would be quite fun. Who's writing these letters? Who? Like, I need to know, because this stuff is outrageous. And, like, leave the rings to Sonic? That's two. That's 2 for 1 we've gotten today.
I mean, I will say this. Whoever's writing the letters
cows.
is creative.
We can't.
I mean,
We can't milk cows, but we can force a hedgehog to wear shoes and run really fast and collecting things.
Yeah, exactly. That's allowed. Again, a fish is allowed to drive a car, and that's perfectly fine. A penguin can drive a car, and that's perfectly fine, apparently. There's no seatbelts last I checked.
an almond picking game? Are you insane? Oh my gosh, I can't read this anymore. I gotta close that out. I can't.
But okay, well, so this is what we've going on in our games nowadays, and honestly, I find it super annoying that like people are even complaining about this. And as someone who, like I said, I do have like an ethical side to me on this stuff, but again, I don't get it. I just don't want them going after games. I find it stupid. I'd rather them handle stuff in real life. But hey, to each their own, I suppose. But this has been Gamer Grudge.
Ethical and PETA. That's so
but
funny.
if you enjoy our content, feel free to subscribe down below. And if you want to join in conversation about gaming and what's going on in the world, then you can join our Discord by following the links down below as well. I have been Aiden with Game Sandwich, and this has been Gamer Grudge, and I've been with Andrew Interactive and our Kalo Logistics Operations Unit, and we will see you guys next time.
This one's not even satire.